everybody. I'm in a great mood, actually. I'm in a great mood. How are you?
I'm not.
Oh.
Not at all. But we'll talk about it. For reasons wrestling and non-wrestling related. Yeah, what a day. What a day.
You know what? I feel like any non-wrestling updates that you want to share?
Any non-wrestling updates? Life is just, my job is insane right now. So hopefully that will relax. Otherwise, I will probably lose it. That's fine. Other than that, guys, the guy I was seeing, he's gone. He's past tense now, so well, he's not dead. He's just dead to me. But
is this the one we talked about?
Yeah.
Oh. He came back?
Happens. All right. It's gone now. Guys, don't worry. So Kenosuke Takeshita. Just saying. But yeah. And then wrestling related, tonight lots of thoughts. What an interesting show.
You know what though? I will be honest. I had one of my friends from high school came over. So I was watching wrestling while being halfway inebriated and talking. So like I only really paid attention for the parts that interested me. And I literally tuned everything else out. I'm not gonna lie to you. I quite literally tuned everything else out. So I had a great time.
I had a time. I was there. There were parts of the show that I really enjoyed. It felt very like all over the place. There was a lot going on.
There was a lot going on.
But yeah, and then the gauntlet I'll get into when the time comes because lots of thoughts on that.
So, how did the show start again? Who do we start with?
I don't know.
Hold on. I got Mercedes. Yes, we started with Mercedes.
It was Mercedes. Yay. You don't trust
Mercedes. Awesome, amazing. Her TBS title celebration.
I look like The Rock. Sorry, I was just looking at.
I will say I immediately knew she was wrestling as soon as Sky Blue came up. I was like, they wouldn't even, because I was just like 9 times out of 10. They're going to announce who Mercedes' opponent is tonight for Forbidden Door. And so I was like, I know for a fact it's not Sky Blue. I know for a fact she's not getting in no long-term program with Sky Blue. So I was like, oh, they must have a match tonight. And I did appreciate them closing that loop because I feel like they answered all the questions except for who attacked Mercedes. They answered all the questions this past weekend except for that. So it was a cool way to close the loop. And so I figured that match was going to be scheduled for later in the night, which it was. What do we have next? We had Swerve versus Killswitch. I really like this match. I know some people were like it went too long. Which I guess is reasonable. But I will say I'm a big fan of the dinosaur. I like when I don't get to see him wrestle singles matches. So I think I was more so I wasn't really thinking about logic. I will be honest. I think I was just more so sitting back and enjoying the match. And the actual match I really enjoyed.
I think my thing was like I thought it should have been as part of the build to the Christian Cage match. Because I agree. It feels like that chapter is over. So I was just like, I don't really know why we're doing that, So like I wasn't mad at it. I was just like, it seemed like you wanted to do it for the House of the Dragon like collab thing, which like okay, but I don't know. It just felt like weird timing because I'm like, if we're closing the book on that thing, like why are we doing that?
I also feel like we could have accomplished this with a different opponent too. Like I feel like you could still advertise for House of the Dragon with. Did it have to be Killswitch?
That's why I'm like. I feel like, especially for somebody,
now that I know y'all had all them niggas in the
back. I'm like, damn, nobody could lace their boobs up a little bit early.
Like I ain't gonna lie.
To somebody's point, like that should have been like the go home show for Double or Nothing. That could have been like a couple weeks. He fought Nick Wayne. It makes sense for him to fight Killswitch too. So like I don't get that.
Should have wrestled him right around the time that he wrestled Nick Wayne. I completely agree. But I did like the match. After this, what happened after that? Was that the Jericho promo? Because it got to a certain point where I just started. Oh yeah, that was when Tony he announced Mercedes was going to have a match, and then Jericho came out. They did that segment. I'm gonna be honest. I had the volume down for the entire time. I cannot tell you what was said. I only paid attention when I saw the Hook and Samoa Joe stuff, and so I'm assuming they becoming a trio.
Not gonna lie to you, I did listen, but only thing that went in my ears and into my brain was just rage, because I'm just sitting there pissed because I'm like, I know he think he eating this shit too. I know he's like, oh, the hoes going.
You can tell. Like, I'm not gonna lie, you can tell. Like, I feel like one thing about a man, like, you can smell confidence on him, even when it's not deserved or warranted. And or arrogance. Arrogance is the best one. It's like, and white men do it to like the utmost. And so Jericho, you could tell when he walked out, like, I got him with this one. I'm fucking him up with this one.
Yeah.
And you stupid people, I'm talking to you.
And let me
say, stupid people have now given him analytics to be able to back up these outrageous claims. Stop.
He is trying so hard for his bit to be, oh, I'm self-aware. Like, the Jericho vortex. I know what you guys are talking about. I'm going to suck people into it. The problem is, we still don't like you. All right? So you're self-aware, but you're not getting the point.
I will say,
when does awareness turn to action?
I have experienced and seen pro wrestling tribalism on so many occasions. And even when it felt like it was okay to stoop so low, I never blamed companies for forging their own Nielsen ratings. But when it comes to Chris Jericho, I'm ready to start making some accusations. I don't see how he's doing it. I don't see how he's doing it. Some people keep saying that Mariah and Saraya got cut probably because he went so long.
So long. And he didn't say shit. That's what got me. I was like,
you ain't got Big Bill not saying shit. Now you got Brian Keith not saying shit.
I don't.
I was so like that was the point. That's why I said, like, I think I had such a good time with this show because genuinely everything that I didn't want to listen to, I turned the volume off and I just used conversation as an excuse. Yeah.
And you're probably right for that because I saw Jericho and I was pissed. Well, first off, like, even setting my disdain for him aside, which is so incredibly difficult to do because I hate Chris Jericho.
Also, he lied so bad. He's not even top 5 selling for the week. Continue. Sorry.
Yeah. And then he was like, who wants a t-shirt? It didn't even throw it. He just kept it. Who does that? But sorry. That was one thing I was like, why didn't you lie? But what's it called? So my thing with Jericho, right? We talked about and we have discussed at length, like, the MJF era and these long-ass promos that went too long, all right? And usually didn't accomplish all that much, or could have been accomplished in so much less time. At least he was a good talker.
Yes,
Jericho's a yapper. He just real yapper only. Like, he ain't got shit to say, and he don't know what he finna say in the next sentence after this, but he go keep going.
And he demands, like, my thing about Jericho is, like, it's not enough that you demand to be a part of the AEW product in some way. You demand Dynamite, and you typically demand, like when the hours change, like, probably the most crucial point of the show, like, that you want your slot to be somewhere between 8:45 and 9:15, which is fucking crazy. Like, that is crazy.
Nasty
like, you actually believe in your mind that people want to see you more than they want to see Will Ospreay or Swerve or Hangman or Mercedes. You genuinely think?
I'm hoping to be that delusional when I get to that age. I want to be so
If I was that
out of
delusional,
touch
I'd
with
be in
reality.
jail.
I might go to jail anyway.
Black people can't get away with being that delusional, Dani.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I'm gonna claim it though. I'm gonna be the first. All right. Everybody's gonna have to. You're gonna have to mold to my world. All right.
Exactly. I know the Danielle vortex. How about that?
Yeah, absolutely. Welcome, bitch.
This is death row, bitch.
I mean, Chris Jericho, he talked for so long, it accomplished so little. They brought Brian Keith out there, which cause god damn.
Bro, my brother in Christ, I'm praying for you. Like when I say, and it's so crazy, like, because I can't get you out of there until you just done. You're already stuck. I don't know what to tell you, but I'm praying for you. We will see you on the other side. And you know what I'm starting to realize? I feel like, I just want to say, Swerve Strickland is might be the most forward-thinking star on that roster, because I know for a fact, I don't know how he did it, but the only reason he's world champion right now is because he avoided the Jericho vortex. And Absolutely. The thing is, I know that Jericho wanted to work with him so bad because he talks about it all the time. I don't know how Swerve got out of it, but shout out to him for that. Because I just, man, it just
brother,
like damn, it's just like you one of them. You can't, like, I feel like, you know, he's the first one. Like I feel like AEW has been able to use their veterans and older talent so well to where I don't think that there's really ever been like an older wrestler where people are just like, he needs to get off TV. Like I feel like in WWE, of course, like especially when you get into part-timers and stuff like that. But I do feel like in AEW, I think Jericho's legit the only one that fans was flat out rejected. Yeah, go ahead.
Did you ever hear "Please Retire" chants for Sting?
Never.
Never.
Like never. Like I mean, not even close. Like if you start that shit, you probably getting beat up in the building.
Everybody's like, "What the hell is wrong with you?"
Imagine telling Sting or Minoru Suzuki,
like,
please retire. Now he's gonna.
Everybody gonna say you're sick and twisted. There's something wrong with you.
Oh my gosh. So what? From one bad thing to another. I will say this wasn't as bad though. Because I feel like Jericho really is in his own league these days for most annoying things. Like I can't even put Don Callis on his level. Like Don Callis is annoying, nowhere nearly as annoying as Jericho.
It does bother me more because he's bald.
I think what bothers me the most
and bald, you need to pick a struggle.
The thing is, what bothers me the most about Don Callis is that I feel like, and it's gotten better. I think it's gotten better ever since Ospreay debuted, but everything that he's been involved in since the Elite return, it's felt more about him than the actual wrestlers he's managing. And I feel like that has been the problem with Takeshita specifically. Takeshita felt too much like a hired hand muscle rather than an actual wrestler in the as a candidate to be the best wrestler in the world, which we know is not the truth, but that's just how he was presented.
Yep.
And so, but the thing is, Don Callis has, I guess they starting to figure this shit out. Obviously, he acted like he was going. He actually pulled the same move that he pulled on Chris Jericho.
Yep.
Yeah, but heading into All In, had Orange Cassidy thinking that he's going, that he's trying to recruit him, etc. And then the whole time it's trick. Also, Chris Statlander.
You know what you did.
She knows what she did, but that's a bad bitch, man.
Oh, absolutely.
It's crazy.
But I'm mad at you.
Like I said, like I was like one of my friends came over. Like, so this is a non-wrestling friend, and I shit you not. when Chris Statlander came up on that screen, mouths went shut.
As they should.
Like,
As they should.
I will say also, Chris Statlander, 2 promos tonight, killed it. I think like
she did.
She killed it. I think I'm actually gonna go back and watch Dynamite tonight. Like, especially like my favorite parts. I'm skipping all the dumb shit, but that's one of the parts I plan on like rewatching is just all of her stuff. Like, she did a really bad thing. Like, she
I want to say this. I want to say this. She disrespected the sanctity of the friendship bracelet. And absolutely. That I cannot forgive.
And
we will always be enemies with you, Chris Statlander.
Well, Willow, I got that shit on for you. I got that shit on for you. Don't ever like they will never. Also, when she comes back, bro, that pop is
gonna be great. She needs to be world champion.
Well, yes. You know, I'm not gonna lie. If they brought Willow out in that gauntlet match, I would have cried. Like, I think I would have just boo-hooed.
Absolutely, bro. I think like the Don Callis thing, whatever. I don't think anybody believed that Orange Cassidy was going to join the Don Callis family. Like,
no,
that nobody believed that. With that being said, I think the angle was done very well. And I think it was one of the first times that we've seen Statlander and Trent like very clearly on the same page. They both turned and done bad things when I like, okay, so they still bad together. And look, Stokely Hathaway, you bald bitch. How dare you? Although his second promo had me weak, bro. Right? He was like, some of you bitches in the black get a sniffle and don't come to work. He said, I didn't even talk about the women yet. I said, oh, that's crazy. He said, I'm talking about the bed. I said, oh.
I think truly is, I think while nobody was paying attention, AEW produced the 2 best managers in wrestling, and they both happen to be black. Yes. Like, and I'm talking about, and I think that they have completely re-engineered the archetype of what a black manager should be. Because they're both so different and so funny. So different. Like, Nana, I think truly, like, that's been really cool. Like, as you've seen Swerve and like Willow elevate, we don't talk enough about these managers. Like, Stokely,
Nana after he said, you see, yeah, Stevie Wonder, you just like him because nobody can see you in this ring. I said, that's an insane part.
I see boss with his coffee in his hand. Like, what like, why are you like this?
I think, go ahead.
I was going to say, I think that's part of the reason why, honestly, in all seriousness, it would have made sense if Swerve was going to turn face for him to drop everybody the same way that he dropped Brian Cage and, you know, Gates of Agony. But the truth is, like, part of the reason that we don't discuss enough of why Swerve became so beloved with the crowds where he had to turn face anyway was Nana. Like, he's a crucial part of the package. And it's not even just the dance. He just adds so much.
It's the presentation.
And Stokely is just, I've never seen somebody make being a bald motherfucker a great gimmick. Like, it works for him. It works for him.
I don't understand. You're short, you're bald. How are you this bold?
I want to get him on this show so bad so you can talk to him.
Could you imagine?
Like, seriously, after he responded to one of your tears like that, I was like, I don't know how this is going to happen. But if anybody deserves an interview with Stokely Hathaway, it's Dani. Dani deserves
I'm going to figure it out, guys.
Dani deserves this. Like, but yeah, this was great. And then they had like another promo backstage. Also, man, Tony Khan, you are a sick motherfucker, and I want to tell you exactly why. The fact that he intentionally told us that Mercedes was going to be wrestling that night directly before the Jericho promo, and then putting her directly afterwards, that's some sick shit. I'm not gonna lie, that's sick. That's sick. That is so sick. I'm not gonna hold you.
I'm asking
that's
questions now.
So,
oh wait. Okay, so no, I didn't. So when I say the song "So Sick," which one do you think of?
Neo.
Okay.
So sick
Okay.
of love song.
Good love song. Me too. But there's that other one. Who's that by? You know what I'm talking about?
I don't think I do.
Yes, you do. Let me think about it though.
Okay.
But yeah, somebody said Saraya posted about how she was mad that her match with Mariah was canceled. Here's the thing, right? I'm gonna be so honest.
I did. You saying something?
Okay. Here's what I'll say, right? Let me preface this by saying I always want to see more women's matches. I always think that AEW can do better about promoting their women's division. That match itself, you can keep it. You can keep it.
I'm not gonna lie. When the shit got announced, I didn't want it. The fact is, I'm not gonna lie to you. There is an argument to be had that obviously there should be more than one women's match on the show. I agree with that. But if we're only gonna have one, I'm sorry, I'm never gonna pick the one with Saraya in it.
No.
And especially, and I'm just gonna be honest. I'm gonna be honest. The last couple
immunity
weeks,
necklace.
The last couple weeks on Dynamite have been ruled by the AEW Women's World Championship storyline, right? And because of the lack of people left to just do anything, we have been stuck with all these variations of Harley Cameron and Saraya on Dynamite. I'm sorry, y'all. I want to see some real graps. It does suck that it was advertised to be a second women's match on the show and it didn't happen. Yes. But I'm not going to lie to you. I never wanted that particular match to happen. And also, Mariah May is absolutely incredible, and she is carrying veterans who have been wrestling twice as long as her, if not more.
Yeah. So, yeah, I love having two women's matches. I love having more than one women's match. I would have picked someone else to face Mariah May. That's all. And so when I look at that match specifically, the fact that it didn't happen this week, darn.
Yeah, I don't know. Like like Saraya, I'm sorry. I didn't want you to be booked in the first place. Respectfully though. You didn't do nothing to me. And honestly, you really didn't do nothing at all. The only bad thing that really happened is that, not even bad thing because obviously it's a blessing or whatever, but Ruby Soho got pregnant, and that really changed everything because her whole storyline and Rampage just went to the wayside. But the thing is, like, respectfully, just because your Rampage story, it's not like Switch sees, like, oh, if we can't do this on Rampage anyway, that just means I go to Dynamite. No. It doesn't work like that. I'm sorry. Ring of Honor. Crazy. If you want to show us that you're good, like if you could do, Ronda Rousey worked Ring of Honor. Okay.
Well, here's what I'll say, right? Saraya, to this point, has not shown us much in the ring.
No.
To hang her hat on for us to be excited about a Saraya Dynamite match. So, yeah. I mean, I don't think it's crazy for us to be sitting here like not excited about it.
Even in the storyline that she was in on Rampage, which I actually liked, I thought it was a cute, fun thing for Fridays after 10 p.m. She wasn't the story. She wasn't the fun part. It was Ruby and Angelo. And guess what? They on maternity leave now. Now what?
Congrats to them.
I'm sorry. You wasn't even the most entertaining part of that. I'm sorry. And honestly, Saraya, you got more than enough. You got to win at All In, which we're still all very unhappy about. And you gotta win a championship in a Queen song. No more talking. And the thing is, you can't even play that card that oh my God, I'm just gonna go back to WWE. Because guess what? You done talk crazy about them in your first night here.
Well, like, here's what I'll say. Okay. Taking the point a little bit away from Saraya in general and talking about like the conversation about 2 women's matches and like whatever. Because we're sitting here saying, yeah, no, we were not excited for the second women's match. So it doesn't feel like all that much of a net loss, honestly. Mm-hmm. With that being said, not cool. That cannot be consistently the match that we go to cutting. That cannot be the match that we...
Especially when Jericho's right there.
If Jericho's yapping for however the fuck long that bitch want to yap, all right, get some baddies in there to grapple. Yeah. So while this match itself didn't necessarily hit, nobody was sitting here like checking for it, right? Like the principle itself, still not cool, because I know it's gonna be way too many like bald-headed losers who gonna be like, oh yeah, gonna think we taking one stance. No. We didn't want this match. Not that we don't want a second women's match.
I also think that it's a very important thing to note that, especially after Double or Nothing, don't get me wrong, I want more time for women, 100%, but I also want more quality. And I think that's just a very real truth that we have to talk about, because...
And they've got the roster to do
They have it for it, but especially these last couple weeks, like I said, I've seen everything with this division. And I just think that I don't want 2 piece of shit women's matches. Respectfully, I would rather one amazing women's match that Mercedes is wrestling, like tonight, and we can just keep that Saraya match respectfully, because I think especially coming off a Double or Nothing, every woman was on point. Everybody. Deanna, probably one of the best, if not the best I've seen from her since she came. Thunder Rosa, on point. Serena Deeb, on point. Toni Storm, on point. Willow Nightingale, on point. Mercedes Moné, on point. Everybody is on their P's and Q's. Every women's match landed at Double or Nothing. The crowd was hot. It was amazing. Standard. It was amazing.
But go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, like, don't get me wrong. Some people have to grow into these roles 100%. And also some, everybody's not available right now 100%. But also at the same time, that's what roster depth is for. And I know you have it. Like, I know you have, I don't know why all these girls are being held. All these people who are under contract. I have no idea what's happening at this point. It's not my job to like speculate at this point, because it's going to make my hair hurt. But at the same time, we do need more women's matches. We do, because at this point, this division can't grow in just one match on television a week.
That's what I was gonna say. I was gonna say, like, right, because like my overarching feeling about that is like, and I was talking about this earlier, is like we treat the women's division and the men's division so differently. Yes. And there are double standards all around, whether it be, I think there has been a different standard in match quality of like what has been acceptable, but there's also been a complete different standard in like what is acceptable as far as TV time. What is, like, even the concept of us sitting here and being like, okay, 1 or 2 women's matches, it's okay, tells you that we're clearly not on equal standing, because that's never a conversation that we've had about the men's division. And now when you're in an era where you have this much depth and this much talent on your roster, it is unacceptable for the conversation to be centered around whether this one match got enough time. Why are we cutting the second match? You see what I'm saying? Like, if you could try to make the argument beforehand that you were shorthanded, that you didn't necessarily have, other people in the world to be able to do this, you can't make that argument anymore. Like, that shit don't work no more. So at this point, I'm not satisfied with one match. I don't know if I'll be satisfied with 2 matches. And that's me being like the super progressive, super BLM feminist who's like, we should be on equal standing. I understand from a TV standpoint, you know, that that's not realistic, but there needs to be somebody in that corner pushing for that far edge, you know?
I agree.
If we keep the conversation centered around 1 or 2 and nobody is ever like, well, can we push for more? Can we push for more? Like, we don't ever necessarily get there. And I think somebody made a good point. Like, we did have some good segments and some good storylines tonight, which is great to see. But yeah, I'm like, I'm ready. That's just how I am. I'm like, push the needle, push it further. Like, 1, sure enough, don't work. 2, still not enough for me.
I think it's also more too of just when you have legitimate stars now in the women's division, both established as well as rising stars, to where I feel the same way about them as I do, you know, an Osprey or a Hangman. I want to see Mariah wrestle every week. Yes. I do. I want to see Willow wrestle every week. I want to see Chris Statlander wrestle. Like, you know, I want to see Mercedes wrestle. Like, and my thing is also this, like, because I do see some kind of a lot's happening in the comments. Listen, this is not even like we're not even going hard right now, to be quite honest. And this is not a hate thing. Honestly, truly, this division is better than it's ever been. I'm actually very proud of the progress that they've made. And I think that people do have to remind themselves that the AEW women's division was not born with depth like the men were. There were no established, you know, people who had TV experience and things like that. The division didn't have it. So I'm gonna be honest. Up until
huge followings.
Absolutely. Up until I would honestly say early last year, to be honest, the women's division wasn't strong enough for anything over 1 match a show. Mm-hmm. To be quite honest. And they've come a very long way. And I wouldn't say, like, can you really call them a division? I just feel like that's just overkill. Of course they're their division. Like of course they're a division. They're valid. They're amazing.
I think I understand
though. I do understand. Though, you know, I do understand that though. But I think that, how do I say it? I try to be very careful with the language that I use, because I feel like when we start jumping at things like this was a waste, this was this is this, right? Even if we mean well, it just further goes back to those preconceived notions of just, how do I say, of what women do and not mattering. Even in loss, it matters. Even like the things of like when we look back at AEW's history, like especially as women's division, like 9 times out of 10, the true people who held it down will probably never get their due because this division has grown so much. Or there were the days when it was Nyla and Riho and like they were nobodies. Even Britt Baker was a nobody. Like, you know, like was a nobody, and her and Thunder Rosa completely changed, you know, what women could do on television. Period. Like they did, like, you know, so I think like, and I'm very critical of the dentist, but a lot of people were in very unfair positions, and now they finally have the depth to be able to, I think, how do I say it, to be able to sustain that. And even like the thing of like Mercedes, her first match tonight, like being a TBS title match versus Sky Blue. Me personally, I don't mind it, because like,
I don't mean either.
What it establishes is that Mercedes is being treated like, and just like all the other male champions, of just like Colt was wrestling every week with that TNT belt.
OC.
That's what they did tonight is establishing a precedent for Mercedes.
She gonna wrestle.
Yes, she is not an attraction. She's a real wrestler, and you're going to see her every week. And I think that needed to be, because I feel like, here's the thing, and I know this is crazy, but it's just the truth. Had she wrestled like some big crazy name, I think especially coming off of her not being able to wrestle for so long, people be like, oh, she's just a spectacle. And and she's got Tony to pay her all this money, and she's only gonna wrestle once a month, and this, that, and the third. Like, no, like, I ain't gonna lie. Sky Blue is just as a regular Wednesday on Dynamite ass opponent as it gets.
A worker.
Exactly.
She be clocked in on Wednesdays.
She be clocked in on Wednesday. If
nobody up here can sit up and say the Sky Blue don't put in that work, because she do.
She be ready. She be in catering, ready with her boots on. Don't care. Like,
she said, I know my name out up there, but they gonna call me.
They gonna call me, and I gotta respect it. And so I think that for me, I think it set a very strong precedent. My thing too is because I would get into match length, but all the matches were short today, except for the gauntlet match,
which
everybody
felt like it could have been longer still.
Yeah, everybody went pretty short today. So I'm not like, I feel like that's the thing with women's wrestling. Like, it's not so much of it's not all a stopwatch problem. It's not all, it's a very delicate balance between quantity and quality of just, we've seen a lot of 13, 14-minute matches be ass. Like, we've seen 20-minute matches on Dynamite be ass. Like, in recent weeks. Yeah, I'm talking to you, Buddy Matthews. Yeah.
Well, she said it, but we were all thinking it.
Like, yeah. I don't know. So I think I try, like, because, like, I think especially as a woman, like, it's part of, how do I say this? Like, part of it is you have to find a balance between smelling, like, wanting more and being like, oh my gosh, this is so progressive, like, and I need more and more and more, versus actually enjoying the roses of how far we've come, especially if you grew up a wrestling fan. Like, what exists now didn't exist. I didn't have that to point to as a little girl. That's why most of my favorite wrestlers growing up were men. Because, like, I wasn't interested in a lot of stuff that women were being forced to do. Like, I knew they were talented, of course, but I didn't get to see them enough.
That's not what was shown. And that Willow Mercedes match, I was like, why am I crying?
I was crying in the entrances. I want to talk about that. Actually, I just want to talk about that I want to talk about those last three matches. Actually, Willow Mercedes and Anarchy in the Arena before we get back to Dynamite, because I feel that was, and I know it didn't main event or anything, but, like, that's also one of those things to where I feel, how do I say this? Like, I feel like people get so locked in online discourse and stuff to where if you don't get exactly what you want, to where it kind of ruins everything for you. And, like, this moment, I couldn't let anything ruin that for me. Like, I didn't give a fuck where it was on the place. By the time it happened, like, my thing is, like, shout out to Willow Nightingale, but too, because it's like, to be quite honest, I don't view her as a transitional champion. Like, what she was able to accomplish in such a short amount of time was crazy.
It feels like she's had that belt a lot longer.
She went to the street fight. She went to Japan.
Felt like she's had that belt so much longer, and she needs to be world champion.
Absolutely.
But the feeling that visual gave me, like, I hate to be that person. No, I don't. I actually like to be that person. There is just something. Well, first off, when Black girls win, I win. That's how it feels. That's how it feels. And I don't know if other, like, groups feel this way, which, like, I honestly don't care. But, like, when I see Black women achieve at the highest level, I always feel like I'm part of it. I'm always like, look what we did. Look what we did. Look at, and I'm like, me from right over here, and you did all the work, but look what we did. It's just something that's just so personal. It feels like, especially in a space where you do not get that often, if ever, and the match fucking slapped. And to me, I had two separate main train of thoughts throughout it. One was, damn, Willow Nightingale's good. She need to be world champion. Toni Storm, I like you a little bit. I like whatever. You don't need a belt to do that. Willow Nightingale needs to be world champion. And my second thought was, we can officially silence the Mercedes conversation. Shut up.
Shut up.
Everybody can shut their
talking
head
about
up.
Mercedes ain't this, Mercedes ain't that. Shut the fuck up.
Y'all niggas ain't on shit.
Y'all really not. And I just want to say, like, I can name every Black woman versus Black woman pay-per-view main event on one hand and not use all my fingers. And I've seen them all in my lifetime, and I've seen them all within the past 3 years. Yeah. Like, for somebody who's been a wrestling fan for 17 years, like, to finally, like, see yourself represented back to back in one fell swoop, and like it's just like
get it.
Like, and that thing is, what people have to understand is that when rich white men are sitting in rooms and planning for the future of industries and stuff, because those conversations happen, nobody even thinks about the Black women demographic. Black women snuck up on wrestling so hard after the pandemic to the point to where by the time everybody realized that they had taken over, it was too late.
Said, hold on.
If you look around every single company right now, like, Black women are the top of everywhere. Like, it's so much of an industry shift to where, like, at this point, it's just, I'd understand if y'all was clutching your pearls too, because this is quick, and it's just like everybody is sincerely better than everyone. These are not diversity hires. These are legitimately some of the best talents in the world. And I think specifically for, how do I say this? I think sometimes in all that splendor, I think Black women can be seen as attractions of just like, oh, look at the body, look at this, like the strength, etc. What I really loved about this match particularly is that this was genuinely about the wrestlers. Like, I felt like the wrestling, I think maybe it's because it's like, AEW is supposed to be more wrestling focused, but Willow is not the conventional, women's superstar. But also in the same time, neither is Mercedes in her own way. And it's like, go ahead.
I was just going to say, this was the first women's match in a long time where, one, the crowd seemed fully invested in what the wrestlers were doing.
Yes.
Everybody was so sucked in and pulled into that moment. I was like, what a cool thing. It was something that felt on par with the rest of the show, which is not necessarily something we always see happen.
We haven't seen it happen, period, since 2022.
Yeah, maybe? I would argue. Yes. So, like, even that was just like a cool feeling. Whereas, like, not only does it feel like this match fit in, quote unquote, with the rest of the card as far as how good it was, it superseded most of it. And you have two of the genuine best in the world. How cool. Like it was just something that I think I'm going to remember and hold that feeling for a long time. And look, how can I say this nicely? The problem that a lot of people are going to have is that at the end of the day, right, like, Black women, there's nothing you can do.
And there's more coming. Like, and I think also too, I've been, when WrestleMania weekend, looking at some of the indie shows, and like I saw Maya World and I saw Jada Stone, and I'm like,
shout out to Maya.
Y'all, like, these girls are not playing. Like, they want to be world beaters.
Nobody's happy to be here.
Like, nobody's just happy to be here. People want to go to Japan. They want to go to Mexico. Like, and I think that's what I don't think people understand about Mercedes, what makes her so special. When Mercedes went to Japan, she opened so many doors that people will never see. Like, that people will never see into a whole different branch of wrestling. Of just, like, of course, we've seen Black people go to Japan before. Not saying that Mercedes was the first Black person to go to Japan. But for her to go and be the superstar that she was, it gave
Black
a lot
female
of
superstar.
Courage. And I'm gonna be honest, I would not be here if it was for Mercedes. I started Do you think that anybody was aware of any Black women in in the Puro Joshi space a lot before? No. I started after Mercedes debuted at Wrestle Kingdom. It changed my life easily.
And by proxy, I only started making content because Lyric encouraged me to. So it's a black girl train. We just keep multiplying. You can't get rid of us. You let one in and we just open the gates.
Mercedes opened the door for me to be able to do what I do. So like, and I don't wrestle. So like, and here's another thing. No.
Yeah, guys. We've been wanting to announce this in-ring debut.
Please don't tell nobody that, because like somebody will fuck around and aggregate it. But you want to know another thing too. Even like now, and I've always wanted to ask her this question. Maybe one day if I ever get to interview her. But like, does Mercedes realize that when she came back in 2019, she completely changed the game as far as glamour in wrestling?
Oh yeah.
Like like, don't get me wrong, women on television always wanted to look good, etc. But when she came back with that blue hair and started essentially treating wrestling shows like her runway, it made everybody step their game up. Because guess what? You want to know how Black women show wealth? Through wigs. Absolutely. When the fact that this lady has had a hand-painted wig for every occasion since January 4th, 2023. Do you know how
the acrylics? There are key aspects of
this is a very rich bitch. This is a very
checking the boxes. How cool is that? And you know, I was gonna talk about well, I know you want to talk about the other two matches, but I was gonna talk about Stephanie, but we can do that when we get back to Dynamite. But
yeah,
the other match, Swerve and Christian Cage, I'll be honest, this exceeded my expectations in a lot of ways. I was not particularly excited for this match. It
definitely over-delivered for me.
I over-delivered for sure.
I expected more hijinks, I guess. Like, you know, I expected this to be, but no, Christian was really wrestling.
Yeah.
Like, they was really wrestling. And I appreciate also, like I said, like, shout out to Swerve, because I'm gonna be honest, he probably could have made a really big stink about that card placement. Cause I ain't gonna lie, I do think it came down to Anarchy in the Arena versus and Mercedes and Willow on who could go last. And I think like that takes a lot of being humble as a champion to like and genuinely wanting the company to succeed, because the crowd was dead, and you're also before Anarchy in the Arena. But I think that they performed well. They delivered well. Also, Mercedes having a party and having everybody show up is so cool. Like
Osprey hitting the dance.
Got the United Empire bus doing this. Got
I said, get a crowd Fletcher.
Got
supporting that new BBL girl.
Tana asking for cake. You know, Tony Khan is so happy that Mercedes is breathing. Like, and I'm not gonna lie, it just feels, some people be like, it's cringe. I'm not gonna lie, guys, this never happens to where billionaire white men are all up a Black woman's ass. I'm sorry, I live for it. She deserves it.
Absolutely,
she deserves it. And also having the world champion, the star of the company, Osprey, all these people saying no, she's our equal. Actually, she might be better than us, all of us. That, like, I'm sorry. That
so excited for her to be there, you know, because they know
you're celebrated, not where you're tolerated.
That part. But Anarchy in the Arena, I loved this match so much. I'm really sadistic. So anytime that they announce any sort of match with a stipulation, I'm like, I don't know, stab him, do something, you know. It's just something different, something unique. The girls want to see it, okay? I always get, and I had said it before, like a little bit cynical about these Anarchy in the Arena matches and like these Stadium Stampedes nowadays, because I'm like, what else is there? What else are you gonna do to these people?
Bro, they got real creative. I just want to say, like, and then like the match, I've already gone back and rewatched it 3 times. I'm gonna probably watch it again. But the match started off kind of slow. So like they didn't come in through the crowds, they were just brawling. I was just like, how am I gonna dress?
I did not feel that way at all.
No, like, because when they first started, like, with no music, etc., and then they start passing around this ox.
Have me weak, bro. Play my music. Cut that shit off. Play my music. What you broke? Cut that shit off entirely. Weak, bro.
I said, what is happening? And then, dog. Listen, I'm sorry. I know, like, I try not to engage in tribalism, but listen, I will say, I have never waved my AEW flag harder than I did during Anarchy in the Ring. I think I feel like for people who've been, like, it just took me back to the first Double or Nothing. Like, and I felt this was the perfect, like, I'm sorry, I know some people wanted, a lot of people, me included, wanted Willow and Mercedes to main event, but there was no way they could have followed.
This had to go last. This had to go last.
And I will say, like, this was the perfect AEW 5-year anniversary match. This felt like the crazy shit that they got started on. It felt like them. And I feel like
it felt like the alternative, because the WWE would never do anything like that. Darby's coffin drop, like, perfectly timed with Final Countdown.
I just want to say,
they're gonna write fucking books about that shit.
I just want to say, WWE, like, fuck all the crazy stuff. First of all, they're not buying Final Countdown in the first place. They won't even buy Drew Broken Dreams to play full length, okay? Like, I'm sorry, you're going to get this Death Rebel bitch. Like, we ain't got it for you. I said, this is the greatest fiscally irresponsible purchase that a billionaire has ever made.
I don't know. I liked the submersive.
Why would you say that? Why would you say that? This is the most ethical, fiscally irresponsible purchase that a billionaire's ever made. Listen, Final Countdown, if you've ever heard it live at an AEW show, you know how it feels. It's only happened 3 times, I think, so far, right? Like, it happened Wrestle Dream. No, it happened Forbidden Door last year, happened at All Out, and then it happened obviously for Anarchy in the Arena. And you know that this motherfucker Tony gonna play it at least one more time again this year, either at All In for Dragon or for Wrestle Dream.
Wrestle Dream.
Shit, hey, I ain't gonna lie, Big TK, you got it. Buy both.
I'm like, shit, you rich? Come
on. But yeah, I just
the Jack Perry.
The coffin drop, like you said, was crazy. Like, that stretch, that I shit you not, might be one of the greatest 3 like spot stretches ever. From the Final Countdown coffin drop to Okada screaming, "This is Rainmaker!" to backstage, Darby
drowning Jack Perry. Jack Perry trying to hit that nigga with a bus.
Like, bro, everything was so, like,
all of a sudden Jack Perry's on fire. My biggest thing though, I was like, get Darby the fuck down. They had that little bitch up there forever.
And then also the chant, "Please help Darby."
I was like, that's what I'm feeling. Because everybody was taking their time and doing all the extra shit. I was like, he needs to come down.
Bryan Danielson is so unintentionally the funniest wrestler ever, because the way that Bryan Danielson, he literally got all his shit in, doing chants and stuff with the crowd. Meanwhile, Darby is still hanging from his broken ankles.
They got that nigga hanging like a rotisserie chicken, and
they doing super kicks with thumbtacks on the bottom of the Reebok pumps. Also,
get that little hoe down.
The product placement in this match, fantastic. Kazuchika Okada with that sleeve, the Rainmaker with the thumbtacks, and the thing is, I know he was so proud of himself. This man did not run the blade one time. He's gonna tell everybody, "I'm a deathmatch wrestler now," and that's just, bro. Shout out to Okada.
Your honor.
He
had the time of his life in this match.
he was having so much fun, and I think like every wrestler in it was having fun, and I think even FTR, and I can't. Anybody who knows me, I can't stand FTR, but like Dex Harwood, the fact that you felt the need to wear a Tomohiro Ishii cosplay to Anarchy in the Arena, I'm not gonna lie, that's some head ass shit. It's kind of cool.
I love the fact that FTR just felt like additional bodies in this.
Yes,
I was like, yes.
No, mate, like
they didn't do anything.
I was really worried that was going to ruin the match for me, but honestly, they were kind of just background characters. It really didn't bother me at all.
I was like, as you should be. Back of the bus.
Man, this match just made me smile. Like, I think I needed to smile so bad. Also, the exploding chair. What the fuck?
Forgot about that. Like, so much happened.
The exploding chair. They super kicked Darby in the nose. What else happened? Jack got set on fire. They went through the table. Nick and Okada went through the tables at the same time. On the sides. Also, bro, Okada, where are you doing dives, my friend? Also, he really showed up in just his regular wrestling gear. Like, it was just okay.
I love him so much, Your
Honor. I really do. I'm sorry. Like, y'all just, anybody who you think that aura's gone, he has elevated to new heights. Speaking of which, the Elite tonight, I giggled so bad. Like, I just giggled so bad. Like, they can't keep getting away with this. Okada fake crying, like
that had me weak, bro.
Like, yo, he's having too much fun. Also, his promos are really great. He's so good at this. He's having too much fun,
and it translates so well.
It translates so well.
It's so easy to read across the screen. Sorry, Duolingo streak.
No, you're fine. And then what happened? Jack, they tried to give the belt.
Give the TNT belt to Jack Perry. Now, Christopher Daniels coming out there to make the announcement. I don't know who I would have liked to do that in place, but it didn't hit for me. Huh?
Sting.
Yeah. Like, you know.
Hey, now that I know that your linebacker ass son is wrestling Sting, hey, it's time for you to get in the booth. Yeah, buddy. I just want you to know that. It's time for you to get in the booth.
Can I ask, Sting, though?
Go ahead.
He's living in a tent in Darby Allin's.
Listen, I just want everybody to think about this. Sting, one of the most renowned, amazing, most well-respected wrestlers of all time, most recognizable. His son decided to wrestle after doing a stinger splash in his retirement match for AEW at Revolution. And he says, I think I want to wrestle now. And I have access to the finest trainers, the best in the world. Give me Darby. And because I wasted so much time in my life, but not wrestling, I want Darby to give me the full homeless indie wrestler experience in a microcosm. So I'm going to camp out in a tent. Like, this man is going to come out so hardcore. Like, so hardcore.
It was so funny because, like, the text in the tweet is like, he's training to be a wrestler. I'm like, why is he living in a tent?
I think, too, him posting the actual tent in the yard. And I'm not gonna lie, how do I say this? What really got to me is that I didn't know Darby had a house.
Honestly, I know what I thought Darby Allin did. I just thought maybe he just like lives in a cave and him and the wolves, like they.
You know, how I said, part of me kind of thought Darby was still homeless. I thought he just kind of like collects the money. Like, respectfully, I didn't even know that he ever like spent his AEW earnings.
It's like, hard to picture Darby Allin buying something.
It's also too, and maybe that just speaks to how good he is at his job. But Darby is one of the only people that when he says that I live, eat, and breathe and sleep AEW, I will die in this place. I'm like, he probably sleep on a tour bus. I don't know.
I don't know. Like,
I believe him.
I've never once in my life been like, oh, I wonder what, I'm just like, he probably doing some weird shit, some crazy shit. So I also was one person, I was like, Darby's house? And I was like, oh, okay, I mean.
Apparently he bought it and he lives with his parents. I think it moved his parents in. I said,
very on brand.
I said, this is kind of wholesome. I don't know. Did you hear the story of how he got to Dynamite the week before Double or Nothing? Like, he found out that I listened to the interview. He found out that Eddie Kingston got injured, so he called Tony and said, "Hey, do you need a replacement? I don't know if I'm actually cleared or whatever, but I can come." So he was driving to his new house. He was driving from Seattle to Georgia to Atlanta. So I think because he was moving, so like actually, him and his parents were doing a cross-country road trip.
Crazy.
So apparently he got to Montana when Tony called him back. Is like, yeah, I mean, and so there were no flights. He literally dropped them off in Montana and drove back to Seattle, got to Dynamite like an hour before the show.
Who's Darby Allin?
Darby ass. I will say, like, and I would like to blame Jeff Hardy for this. Jeff Hardy really started the point, the archetype in wrestling that every major promotion worth its its weight in salt has to have like that one crazy nigga who just willing to do all the stuff that nobody want to do. And let me tell you something, this crazy thing, he never has to be a world champion. He actually never needs a belt. He just stays.
Doesn't matter.
Only one person can get away
with
it. But that every wrestling promotion needs at least one. And Darby's it.
And look, I don't know. That little bitch confused me. Like I'm puzzled by your existence. How you made it this far, I don't know. I hope I keep doing what you're doing, I guess. I did want to talk about I have to go in a little bit, but I have many thoughts on this gauntlet match. So first I want to say
Stephanie Bakir.
Stephanie. Yeah, I was gonna say talk about Big Steph. That match is gonna slap so fucking hard.
And I feel like it's just, how do I say it? Mercedes, don't get me wrong, I really did like her run in Japan, but I feel like just about everybody that she wrestled, she needs at least one rematch with. Like, we got to see you run the one with everybody, sister. Because, like, nah, like, look. And what I'm thinking is if Big Steph is really her opponent for Forbidden Door, then guess what? She better be wrestling some Stardom girls on Dynamite in this lead up in the next 4 weeks.
I mean, I don't know, because my thing is like the working relationship with Stardom. I feel like we can do that whenever. I mean, Forbidden Door season is obviously when it makes the most sense, but I'm like, I wouldn't be pressed about it if we don't do that till later. But this match, like we talk about Mercedes liking a rag doll. Stephanie gonna beat the piss out of her.
I'm not gonna lie,
so excited.
Stephanie's still, I will never in all my days forget what she did to Julia. Oh my God. Like, she beat the, and then after she thought she couldn't tell that Julia was trying to beat the belt on, she beat her ass up. She knocked her in the head and everything. I can't so. She's the real deal. And also that art show up in 4K on TV, baby. I don't know what to tell you. It shows up. It hold up. It stands up.
She's one of the few people, like, sometimes there's very few people in wrestling that I'm like, oh, I'm scared of you. I'm scared of her.
Absolutely. I'm terrified.
She looked like she walked around beating people.
And I think also too of just, how do I say it? It's not a lot of people. I feel like Mercedes is really locked back in. I saw that
absolutely
versus Willow. Like when she started like sticking her tongue out and stuff, I said, "Oh, she
want to fight." Yeah,
she's ravished. I said, "Oh, she wants to be fed like a wild animal. Like she wants to be fed. She has been starving." And like when she's in that mode, when she's really like in that mode, to be honest, there's not a lot of people who can stand across the ring from her. Go star power for star power, which makes what Willow did even more insane. To be able to drown that out,
or to at least match it.
Because I'm gonna be honest, when off the entrances, I was like, hold on, does this crowd not fuck with Mercedes? They really love Willow. They
really love Willow.
She's so over. And then obviously, like, you know, like the bell rung and it's like CEO. But everybody can't do that. Go band for band with Mercedes. But Stephanie had that aura before we even knew who she was. I remember like going into that match, she was the one I knew the least out of the four of them. Even Momo Kogo, I felt more familiar with her. And then she steps in the ring. Everybody says, "Oh, I think I'm her new biggest fan now. That's so crazy." She can go band for band with Mercedes.
To all those unfamiliar with her game, because I honestly wasn't that familiar with her until I saw her at Windy City Riot, and then I was like, hold on, and went on a deep dive. To everybody unfamiliar with her game, you have a match to be excited about.
And absolutely. I do believe that. I truly believe, honestly, out of all the singles matches, like in that on her Japan run that first time, I believe that the best one-on-one match that she had was versus Stephanie Bricker. Some people want to give it to the Kyrie match. That's fine, but truly the best match, that and then the three-way. But like, like that match versus Stephanie was insane. And I think we only got a taste. It was only 12 minutes or something like that. Like, yeah. These women can cook, and then the thing is,
Mercedes is locked back in right now. Like we said, it's gonna be a different match, and it's gonna be
And Steph is always locked in. Steph is always locked in.
No days off.
She's no days off, and so I'm excited. This has aura. And after that, we had the Gauntlet match, and the Gauntlet match. Listen,
insane. I loved it.
I was hated the having results. So much fun. This is the match that convinced me. Like, I felt like there hasn't been a lot of things. Like, don't get me wrong, I've had FOMO if I miss a show that that ends up being really good. I do have FOMO, but I've been waiting for those moments that make me say, I don't care what logic says. I need to be there. I need to feel it. I need to experience it. And I was hoping that Forbidden Door felt that way for me this year to like try to get me to make a miracle happen. Because I don't know how I'm going to afford this flight. But I have to make a miracle happen because one, we now know who Mercedes is facing. So like, hello. But two, y'all, this gauntlet match was fucking crazy. We started off like we started off with Will Ospreay and Pat. Well, not Will Ospreay and Pat. Jay White and Pat.
Yeah.
We started off with Jay White and Pat, which was already pretty cool. And then we add in Mystico, which is like, oh, we cranked up. Then we add an Ospreay. And I'm like, oh, we like turn super turn up. Then we add in Shota Umino, and I'm like, oh, we're cooking. We're cooking. Like
this was the first, to me, honestly, maybe ever, the first thing that felt like a true like Forbidden Door. And maybe it's because you now have the CMLL involvement where I was like, I don't know who's coming out and I don't know where they work, because when it was a partnership mainly and like usually with just New Japan, it was kind of predictable of like who might be involved in these things and who might like whatever. I was sure enough sitting there and I was like, you got AEW guys in there, you got, like I'm like, I don't know who's coming out, I don't know where they work, and I don't even care. I just bring another hooper out here.
Bro, there's so many questions coming out of the night because like, first of all, is Leo Rush signed? And if he signed, who was he signed to? Because I didn't like the thing is he ain't been wrestling for New Japan like that. And so just like, are you back at AEW? Are you in New Japan?
Wait, where he work?
Then
We're here.
it's just so many questions coming out. We had the Osprey Pac, that face to face happening in this match, which is fucking just Sarah. But then just that Osprey wins.
Okay. You go first because I have lots of thoughts on this. So.
Okay, my thing is I don't know how to feel about it because my thing is, like you've said, every week since he's essentially debuted, there is an Osprey problem. I didn't know this was how AEW was going to solve it or attempt to solve it. And I do think if you're going to have two AEW talents challenging for the AEW world title at Forbidden Door, makes me think that either one, they're not going to main event. I don't think that they're going to main event, which makes me think that Mox versus whoever, probably Naito, will main event. And that's not even more so the thing. I'm just more so like, this is balls. I'm not gonna lie, because I don't know how it's gonna turn out. I'm not gonna lie. I have no idea what they plan to do with this. But it is ballsy. Like, I never imagined a scenario where they run Swerve versus Osprey this early. Never.
I hate it. I hate it at every level. One, because like you said, it's Forbidden Door. Why are you doing 2 AEW talents for the world title? That doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. And it feels like a misuse of the other partnerships and a missed opportunity. Because you can do Osprey Swerve anytime. Literally anytime.
You could have done Swerve versus Mystico. You could have done Swerve
anybody.
Versus, I don't listen.
So there's that aspect of it, right? And then my other thing, well, several other things. One thing, Osprey just won this international title. He just did. So even like literally this week. So even him being involved in this match kind of feels like you're diminishing the international title because he's like, that's not enough for me. I haven't even had it. I haven't even defended it yet, but that's not enough for me.
And he does have a great defense lined up. Shout out to you, Kyle O'Reilly, this Saturday.
But this is before that even, So it very much feels like, okay, so he's not satisfied with that. Why would anybody else ever be satisfied with that? So I don't like that aspect of it either. And the idea that now you have, assuming that neither one of them drop their belts anytime soon, which I don't think they will, especially not before the pay-per-view. Now you have the international title that can't be defended during this. So that's one match off the card, one title match off the card, because you're doing the international champion versus the world champion. You see what I mean? So it's like
when it feels like if either of them should be defending at Forbidden Door, it should be Osprey.
It should be Osprey.
Like even if Swerve wasn't, I don't even think that Swerve needs to particularly defend at Forbidden Door. I think Osprey
needs to, and that's what you're not getting. That you're getting a world title match.
What it's supposed to mean, what he says it's going to mean. Yeah, I do, and I think also too, just to be quite honest, in the grand scheme of Forbidden Door, unless you're doing something crazy, like you're doing something crazy, I can't even think of what could be crazy.
There's so few things that are crazy enough.
Unless like y'all gonna let like Mercedes and Big Steph main event or something. I don't know. Like, listen,
because like, and it just doesn't make any sense to me, and it really, I think, invalidates the international title. You put Osprey in the world title scene when he does not need to be at all, and we thought that's what we were accomplishing with putting him in the international title scene, was keeping him away from that so we wouldn't have this problem. And so now, regardless of the outcome, now we have these two characters that have interacted, that have crossed universes. And so if you had an Osprey problem before, you're definitely going to have it after this, because it makes no sense for Osprey to win the title this early.
They're both faces.
And they're both, it makes no sense.
And I think also too of just respectful, like I even looked at the stare down afterwards of just, don't get me wrong, it's a cool visual to see Swerve and Osprey standing across from each other. But like I said before, Osprey does not have like that institutional knowledge and like built up rapport with the roster yet of just like, Like, I know this looks cool, but I'm not feeling anything, especially for Forbidden Door. Like, you know, like, what's the actual, I feel like to be doing a build on this in the middle of Forbidden Door feels like you're going to be grasping at straws to like make.
Absolutely.
And I think also too of just this doesn't. How does this help? If I'm like the other organizations, I'm pissed because like we don't have access to your world champion. Like we can't,
or international champion.
New Japan, especially New Japan, because we know several people who could really benefit from having a match with Ospreay on that roster who lost out on it when he left. And it's like, okay, like what do we so what's happening here? Like, you know,
so why do we even need to do this Forbidden Door thing if you've already decided your top 2 titles in your men's division are not, you know?
And also, and especially if Okada doesn't agree to wrestle somebody from New Japan, which is a very big possibility, y'all. That's a
yeah.
And I will say this should not be his fault because Kazuchika Okada is not doing anything different than what he usually is. He just acts like that.
That's
he
true.
just act like that. But
it's not news.
If you don't have nobody from New Japan is able to wrestle Swerve, Ospreay, like Okada, like now we have a bigger problem. And I say this as a big AEW and New Japan fan. But now we have a bigger problem of just it's not partnership. And you bring your top guys, they wrestle our top guys. Like at least one, we need at least one big match, which makes me believe that there's going to be one other huge men's match, but it better be, I mean, otherworldly. Don't get me wrong,
unless
Swerve is going to be otherworldly.
But that's the thing, though. It doesn't feel like it. It feels out of place for Forbidden Door. 100%. And it feels like something that should warrant a lot more build. Something that should be, you know, should be cooking over time. And like I said, Ospreay hasn't even defended the belt. He just won. Why is he now in the world title picture? It doesn't make any sense. And so it really upsets me because I'm like, it really pisses me off because I'm like, you have so much other talent in the ring that even if you're going to pick an AEW talent, pick somebody without a fucking belt. You know, I wouldn't pick another AEW talent, but if you're going to do that, you know, Pac, let's go. You know, it's incredibly frustrating to me because it just feels like it feels like we're rushing to a match that it's going to slap whenever we get there. It's going to slap even more if you give it time to breathe. And yes, I'm just really frustrated by it. And I think that honestly, it's hard to see how either one of them really benefit from it.
And I think especially when you need both of them to look incredibly strong handling. Because let's just be real. Come down to the math. We are at the end of May. All In is on August 25th. 40,000 tickets are sold. You need to move at least 20,000 more for this to be considered a success. Do I believe that they will do it? 100%. But the day that you signed Will Ospreay's name on the dotted line was the day that those tickets became available, which was a conscious decision, which is why y'all released that he was signed while he was still working for New Japan. I'm not saying that he has the main event. Like, y'all know I'm against that. But he does need to be looking like damn near impeccable.
Otherworldly. And neither one of these people can afford to lose right now.
And the only reason that we've escaped so much reproach about him possibly not main eventing All In is because he's supposed to make that international championship feel like the gift of God. And to immediately put him in the world title picture before he even defends that belt, how are you going to accomplish this? Because the thing is, you want to know what's the truth? It took Orange Cassidy damn near a year to build that belt up.
And look, the thing is,
way less to tear back down.
The thing is, Ospreay is good enough that I don't think that long term it will matter for him. It will matter for the belt. It will matter for the belt. It will matter for the international title. That it doesn't seem like something that is satisfactory to anyone. And I just go back to, OC was doing crazy stuff with it. But think about when Christian Cage was TNT champion.
100%.
That felt, That was what he
carried
wanted.
that belt like it was the only belt in the company.
It's the only belt that's here. This
He
is
didn't
the
even
only thing to
talk about
attain
the world title until he had already dropped the TNT.
He dropped that belt. So
and
I'm
I
like,
understand that, like, Ospreay, I feel like having Ospreay address all the other stuff is really like addressing a lot of, how do I say, unfounded criticism on the internet. That's a lot of fan service, and I don't think that they should have done that. He really, like, obviously you're Will Ospreay. We know as a competitor you eventually want to be AEW World Champion. That doesn't have to be explained, but apparently it does. But I feel like now we've spent more time.
Why do you want to be world champion right now? You
and
are
also
the international champion.
But we haven't gotten to see him build this international belt into anything yet.
He hasn't even talked about it.
He did that
Talk
backstage.
about defending it. This was the first match, the first show since. He hasn't even said, like, I'm excited about my international title belt. He ain't said shit. So I'm like, that to me, none of this makes any sense. Unless of course you get some EVP involvement.
Which I think is going to have to happen. I think it has to happen. And I think that has been teased a bit, especially when it relates to Swerve, especially like those last weeks before Double or Nothing, him coming face to face with the Bucks, etc. And I genuinely don't think Swerve. I think Swerve's title reign is doing well, but I don't think it's going to truly take off until Hangman comes back, y'all. I don't know why I don't believe that. Because here's the thing. I genuinely believe that it's not even a him problem. It's a very few storylines have been able to engage people in that way from a company perspective since that. Like, it just...
I agree, but I think that what he's really missing, yes, is Hangman himself. He needs a rival. Because what we've been doing with these, and Hangman obviously is like the best example and the easiest one. I think I'm upset because I'm like, Ospreay can be a rivalry. It absolutely can be. It can be, Ospreay climbing his way up the ranks, Ospreay being mad that the international title's not being respected the same way. It can be all this shit. And you can do the same thing, but like have Swerve on the receiving end where Ospreay's like, you think you don't have to work for anything anymore. You can build a rivalry with two people that can talk pretty well and make you believe what they're saying. You can build another one. And so I think that's part of my frustration too, is I'm like, okay, we're taking the cheap way to this match, which could be huge. So I'm hoping we get some EVP involvement and they're just like, no, that matchup doesn't work for us.
I'm not gonna lie though, but if the EVPs get involved, I'm not gonna lie, AEW, you deserve to be sued for the clickbait that y'all engaged in tonight. Because I'm not gonna lie, like I just stared at the screen and said, holy shit.
I said, no way that was 3. No way that was 3.
I will say,
that pissed me off.
One thing I will say is that AEW really, they achieved really gagging me. Yeah. Like that whole last 15 minutes of the show.
I was gagged.
Last 20 minutes, I was gagged.
I was indeed.
When people kept coming out, because honestly, I thought we were done after. I thought Orange Cassidy was really the last person to come out. When Leo Rush came, I said, niggas still coming. Wait, what? I was like, wait, hold on, y'all. See, also, shout out to Leo Rush. Very well deserved. It felt really good to see him in that opportunity. Like I said, I don't know who he signed with. I don't know if he signed at all by either of these companies. But wow, it was amazing to see him on that type of stage. And I think he performed, and it's just good to see him back. It's just really great to see him back. Yeah, very big fan of Leo Rush. That was awesome. Also, Claudio, y'all, man, we don't deserve him. Like, we just don't. And also, Pat, I have never seen anybody sell a swing the way that
I love. He was fighting it. He was fighting it.
He said, "Absolutely not me." He said, "Not me. I am."
Ospreay tried, but he gave up.
Oh, that was, bro. Claudio Castagnoli. I'm not gonna lie. When Brian leaves, I think that he's going to be on a crazy trajectory. I think he's a guy you put titles on. Claudio has big transitional world champion vibes, in my opinion. Like a Samoa
Fair
Joe
enough.
type reign, like 3 months transitional. He strikes me as that type.
I could see that.
Yeah.
I could.
Yeah. He's a great guy. Like I'm not gonna say like he's going, oh my gosh. No, I think it's very logical to be pissed because I felt like we had finally got to a point to where you can get Swerve safely to All In without Ospreay as the opponent, and everybody can really go home happy.
It felt like you had done it. Felt like you had done the impossible.
And it's just like, my thing is like, if this fucks up, whatever they have planned, if it fucks up, this is 100% their fault. Like, this is 100% a problem of their own making. And like I said, I don't know where they plan to go with it. Like I typically, my spidey sense has been really tingling really a lot recently, and I've been right about a lot of shit. But I'm gonna be honest, y'all, I don't know about this one. I have no idea.
I'm gonna have to get in the lab. I'm gonna have to get in the lab.
Like, I ain't gonna lie, they already blew my mind with this whole AEW versus AEW at Forbidden Door type match. So it's just like everything that I knew was logic, nothing.
But you know, I also like, and this is the last thing I'll say about it. Like, I also, if I'm New Japan, I don't really want my guys getting all this TV exposure anymore because y'all keep taking them.
Well, I think it's more so about these. I think it's more
no,
so
I know.
About,
I'm just like, if I'm New Japan, I'm like, well, I mean,
I'm not gonna lie, Shota looked great.
Because I mean, there's a whole conversation about AEW, like, huh?
I said Shota looked great.
What?
Shota,
he sure did.
Looked great. He looked great.
Yeah,
he looked a lot more confident.
Absolutely.
But he's typically like that whenever he's with Ospreay though. Like, he just comes alive. Like, I mean,
yeah,
Ospreay and Mox are it for him. Like, those, when he's with them, like, it doesn't matter where he is. Like, he's just on a different level.
One love. I lost my train of thought.
No, you were saying Irish. Like about New Japan guys coming to AEW getting TV.
No, because I mean, like, I think the whole conversation about AEW, like, quote unquote, hoarding talent, that's stupid. If people make their own decisions, and if you decide that you want to go somewhere else, okay, go somewhere. You know, like, and even the prospect of it, but I see how if I'm New Japan, I'm like, we keep sending the best we got, and then you keep leaving with them. So
I think it's
maybe let's relax a little bit.
People be coming on this side and like the money hit different. Like, y'all, the money hit, and I think too of just different. When you, even in Japan right now, like the yen is so low to the point to where if you're an American over there, your money is going to stretch so crazy, bro. Like, it's going to stretch to infinity and beyond. And I feel like it's like that in reverse when you come here, and I think it's just. And I'm like, I don't know.
I'm not even like, you know. It's just yeah. Feels like, you know, they have these big Forbidden Door shows, and then I was gonna say they have these big Forbidden Door shows, and then Tony Khan on the way out, he's like, "Let me talk to you, just real quick. Let me pull you aside."
I think also too of just you have all these people, and like everybody, 2 AEW talent in the AEW World Title match, and let's just be honest, now you could have gotten away with it being just like a regular match on the show, like last year, you know, MJF Tanahashi, but Swerve versus Ospreay got to be at least one of the main events, at least. Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, Forbidden Door, we're looking at probably another triple main event, 100%. Like, because I respectfully, the fact that we only know 2 matches so far, we know with Stephanie versus Mercedes, I believe that's probably going to main event as well. Even though I'm gonna be honest, Tony versus Mina should probably main event over Mercedes versus Stephanie. I think there's a longer story there, and I think it's actually Tony we get. I will say I'm not gonna talk shit about Tony no more because she has not missed. Ever since Azumi smacked her in the head one good time, man, she's back at it. Now, here's the thing. I have yet to see that standout match from her. I think she's had some great performances, but I haven't seen a like that standout. You know how Willow Mercedes was. No, this wasn't just good, serviceable. This is going on like my match of the year list type shit. Like I haven't seen that yet from Tony.
This is memorable. I'm gonna think about this. Yeah,
I'm
Toni
gonna
Storm
think
has that.
about this.
She's definitely picked it back up. She's
She
definitely
hasn't
picked it
had
back
that
up.
memorable
But
match yet.
yeah, which I think she can have and will have with Mina. But you know, it's hard to think it's a hard main event sell thus far.
Absolutely, especially let's just be real with them not having any TV time tonight. So, but I digress.
Yeah,
this was Dynamite, folks. We had a time watching the show. You know, some of it was good, other of it was Jericho. But you know, hey, things happen. As I told Dani before this, my schedule has changed quite a bit, and so I'm not going to be as available as much for wrestling content. Not as much, not quitting or anything. This show will still happen. Actually, a lot of great plans for this show. But things will look a little different. So if you don't get super regular Maps and Graps uploads, please don't shoot me. I hope for things to change very, 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 very soon. And so yeah, just wish me luck. Hey, if you want to contribute to my Forbidden Door fund, my Cash App is at the link in my bio. Hey, truly. But where can we find you, Dani? Any updates?
I don't have any updates. My life's not that interesting. Well, actually, but not more. You can find me at Dani Don't Miss on Twitter and Black Wrestling on Twitter and on Instagram. And I would also like to say, just really quick, just a bit of a Debbie Downer. If you find me that are not connected to like my wrestling stuff, please don't do that. You know, had some people reach out on other forms that have nothing to do with wrestling, to do with like my life.
Yeah, she was skipping a lot, but I think that's a really good point. She was saying that a lot of people showing up to other platforms that are unrelated, wrestling related, and like hitting her up, and that's happened to me quite a bit too. It's kind of weird. Don't get me wrong. Appreciate all the support. Love you guys truly. But I think we should respect people's personal lives. There's a reason why I have a wrestling account, just so we can spend all of our time together. That's why it exists. There's no need to go past that. I made this space just for you, you know? It's just so don't need to go past that. Let's respect people's privacy. You know, listen, and when it comes to wrestling, we already spend so much time together. Like doing something weekly every week, like even just this show, to like commit to watching one show once a week, every week, 52 weeks a year. That's already a lot. And then you add in all the other time, all the other wrestling shows we watch. Good guys. Like, guys, we spend a lot of time together. There's no off season. You know? Let's learn how to miss each other.
Yeah. Let's leave the LinkedIn alone. Let's leave that.
Let's leave the LinkedIn alone.
If I would like heavy on that part. If I would like for you to be over there, I'll invite you. Thank you.
Yeah, like truly, I've added people before. Like if I really want to, I will add you on LinkedIn. I promise. I will. But please don't find me. And if you do see, please just keep scrolling. Like it's just
please.
But that was yeah. But that was a good place to stop it. Thank you everybody for watching this show. I think that we're getting super chats next week. I don't know. So bring your coins. Ooh. Yeah, start pulling up. Pay up, proud. But thank you as always. You can find me on Twitter at Lyric Wrestling and on Instagram as well. You can subscribe on YouTube at Lyric Swinton. But thank you for watching this show, and you have read yet another chapter of the Dynamite book. We'll see you next week.